We are here with the one and only Mario Veloso. What's up, Mario?
What's up? We live.
We're live. So, Mario Veloso is a Perth-based photographer who was born in Angola and raised on the streets of Lisbon, Portugal. Mario discovered photography in his adolescence, capturing the youth, culture, and scenes of his neighborhood. Mario has collaborated with multiple brands around the globe, having his work published in magazines such as GQ, HipHoper, and others, working with brands like Hennessy, Dickies, Champion. Mario specializes in fashion, street, documentary style photography. He's one of my personal favorite photographers that I know. His ability to connect with people and capture the culture and community is like no other, and I'm so happy for him to be here today.
Appreciate it, boss.
Hey, what's up, Mario?
What's up, man? I appreciate it.
So,
that was a really good introduction,
that was
man.
Now I'm excited to hear your story because it was quite a journey to get to where you are
to
today.
Yeah, man.
Australia. So
sure.
You grew up in Angola, in Africa.
Yeah, so no, I was actually born.
Are you born in
Angola? Yeah. So I was born in Angola. My mom and my dad, they both from Angola as well.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's mom, she is from Portugal. So that's where the mix come from. But, both my mom and dad grew up in Angola. Quite not too bad. Obviously, my mom come from a poor family. My dad comes from an okay family, kind of thing. But yeah, when we were in Angola, we wasn't struggling that much. Obviously, my mom and dad went through a lot of things in Angola, it's through war and stuff like that. But my dad always worked his ass off to provide us, to provide for us. So I remember my sisters, they were on a private school in Angola, and he's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to work really hard to be able to provide us. So the reason my mom and dad went to Portugal were to give us a better education, and obviously to escape war and stuff like that. Because Angola was quite in revolutionary war, stuff like that. So
it's a corrupt country, basically. Yeah.
With the Chinese, with the Portuguese trying to fight for the country and stuff like that. But we left when I was 5. So even though I don't I have a couple memories of Angola, but I don't remember much of it. I've got a lot of family. I keep talking to my family, but one thing that my mom and dad always did was they kept the culture in my house. My household is very African. The food, the way they the design, everything is African. Even my Portuguese accent is African. Obviously, I can do the very Portuguese one, but I'm very connected to my root, to my culture. Even though I grew up most of my life in Portugal. So we left when I was 5.
Yeah,
and then obviously as an immigrant, it's quite hard because my mom and dad, my mom especially, she was illegal in the country the first years. My dad was able to get the papers from me and my 2 sisters and my brother because his mom's mom were Portuguese. She was Portuguese. But there was something wrong on my mom and dad marriage certificate. So my mom couldn't get anything. So she was actually legal. She wasn't. So she was working at her first job was on a Chinese shop. Yeah. Kind of like Red Dot, but it's
Red Dot or
cheap kind of stuff. Something like that. And it was €1 for stuff. And you can find all the plastic. You can find everything there. That's a paradise for kids. We used to buy so many shit in there. It was crazy, man. But Portugal has a lot of them. Yeah. And one thing is she used to work a lot with Brazilian girls because they were illegal as well. So it worked for the owners because they don't have to pay for tax and stuff like that. So they just give cash in hand. So that was my mom. And my dad used to work. My dad was like a chef, so he used to very good at cooking. But he couldn't find a job in the area. So he had to work at place, at night, because in Portugal, the system is so every night they come and get your rubbish. So your whole neighborhood rubbish, every night they go and do it. So my dad was working as that.
Like a garbage collector.
Like a garbage collector, yeah. So every night he used to go and work. But yeah, man, like growing up as an immigrant was quite hard. In Portugal, we struggled a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, like as an immigrant with not much money, you go to the low social economic neighborhoods, right? And that's where kind of we went to like these 2-bedroom for 6 people.
Yeah.
It was like a very small house, but we made it. Like as I said, like my upbringing shaped me to be who I am today, and I feel like you can see that at my work.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was introduced to culture very early.
Yeah.
Like Portugal has a lot of colonies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of colonies in Africa, like Angola, Cape Verde.
Yeah,
Guinea,
Angola is it's a Portuguese colony.
Angola is a Portuguese colony, so we speak Portuguese in Angola, and then they have Brazil as well. So all those countries, like all people from there, go to Portugal because they're trying to get a better life.
Yeah,
and because Portugal is Europe, they just go there to get better education, stuff like that. So in my neighborhood, we used to have people from everywhere, and I can even speak and I can understand Creole from Cape Verde and from Guinea just because I grew up with them, right? I'm very connected to Brazilian culture because I grew up with Brazilians as well, you know, and I feel like that has a lot of, like, you can see a lot of that in my work, and that's like, I'm very grateful that I actually grew up poor. Yeah, I feel like that shaped me as a person.
So what was kind of your daily life growing up in, say, Portugal?
When I was young, like I was just out all the time. I hate staying home. I'm not a home person at all. I hate to be out. I hate to stay home. Sorry. I love to be out. Yeah. I love to be with people, laughing, running. So my day to day was just like from like when I was 5 till I left Portugal when I was 18. I was always out. Like I know half of Lisbon, like in terms of people. I know a lot of people there because I was always out, like running. I remember like me and my friends in our neighborhood, we used to have a competition, like running competitions. We used to do like football competitions. We used to do all of that. So I was always out, man. It's like a,
like football or soccer is like pretty popular over there.
Obviously, soccer in Portugal is like the main thing. So every kid want to be a footballer. We call it football. I'm not even gonna call soccer. Yeah. That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
So football, everyone wants to be a footballer, especially us kids from the ghetto. I don't call it ghetto because in Portugal it's like I was actually showing some of like I was showing my neighborhood and you were like, oh, he actually looks good, and I was like, yeah, he does, because it's sort of like in Portugal it's like a mix of like, it's like apartments, right? And then it's a mix of like medium families and then poor families kind of thing. Yeah. So like I remember like my best friend, which was Rafa, one of my good friends. Shout out to Rafa. He used to live at the second floor, and his family was like all right. They didn't struggle, but then us or the neighbor, we were struggling. Yeah. So it's a mix of it's like a full mix. So yeah, man, that's kind of like how Portugal is. So that's why I don't like to call it ghetto, but it was rough.
It's a mix between the rich and the poor. And
there is more poor.
So there's like a gap between.
It's like a gap between. So there is more poor people there. But at the same time, you still have those people that are like not too poor kind of thing. So I don't like to call it ghetto, but like for us, that was like, for example, for me, because my mom doesn't have education. My dad doesn't have education. They just there to provide, like, to trying to give us a better life. Yeah. My mom put us this pressure of like, you guys have to finish school. You guys have to finish your education. You guys, you need to study so you won't be like me. Yeah. Right? So their effort was for me, my 2 sisters and my brother to get the best of our life, because she didn't have the best of the life. So, you like you as a ghetto kid, street kid,
like someone growing up in lower
poor,
socioeconomic
you're like,
place,
what's gonna make me make money quick? Yeah, being a footballer. Yeah, and like as a black person as well, I only see black people on sports, in sports, doing sports, footballers. There was like a couple guys from Kasain, from a neighborhood that actually made to the professional. So that's our role models.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't see black people on TV.
Yeah.
We didn't see black people on those levels. So who's gonna be our role models?
Yeah.
The hip hop people, like 50 Cent. Like I used to listen to go, and I couldn't understand nothing. But that was a black person. Like for me, it was like I want to be like him. Even though I sucked and like I'm very bad at music, but I wanted to be a footballer because football was there, and then all my role models were footballers.
So you were kind of going out every day playing.
Funny thing, my mom and dad couldn't afford for me to, like, they couldn't put me on a football school because you have to pay monthly and stuff like that. Yeah. So I used to play at school. So I started as a futsal, so indoor football at school. They had like this program, but I was one of the best players. I was like team captain, and our coach, it was actually a woman. She liked me a lot, so she took me to a club, which was a little bit far from my house. So I couldn't get to there. So I was like, it's a bit far. It was like a very good club actually, and I was like, oh, it's too far away. My mom don't have money for me to get to the club, and they're like, oh, we can try to find a way. So that's where another club that is very close to my house, they were having trials. So I was like, let me go and check it out. I didn't have boots, bro.
Yeah. I
was training with like shoes. It's crazy because like it was like shoes. It wasn't trainers. It was like shoes, bro. And like I looked at everyone, and people were like making jokes with me because I heard like people like laughing and shit because I didn't even look like a football player. But then when I started playing, everyone was like, oh, who is this kid?
This guy, yeah.
And then Rafa, which was my neighbor, his mom, I love his mom, man. She gave me boots, bro. So Rafa, he used to play at that club. And then she said, Rafa has some boots that he doesn't use it. So have it. It was a bit bigger, but I was like, yeah, cool. I'll have it. And it was like Puma boots. And like to this day, I love Puma, bro. Yeah. Because that was also my dad's favorite brand. Because at that time, they used to sponsor Angola.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of connections.
A lot of connections.
So
so that was my first boot. And then the next training, I went and I ended up staying at the club. Oh, yeah. And I didn't have to pay anything because I was a good player. So they said, you don't have to pay. Just pay for the key, which my mom managed to get like the money. And then that's how I started. I started to play like 11-a-side, so my first ever football school, I was 13. Yeah.
And growing up in that area, was it kind of dangerous as well? Like a lot of crime?
Yeah,
that
so
sort of thing?
It's kind of like,
in Lisbon.
As I was saying, like my area is like, there is the good parts and the bad parts, right? So at that specific time, like when I was, now it's okay. But when I was young, there was places that you couldn't go because you can get robbed. And my area was like, it wasn't too bad, but it was bad. So yeah, there were crime around, there were drugs around, of course. I remember once, I'll never forget this. I remember once that's in high school. I was like, maybe year 6.
Yeah.
And we used to finish high school at 6:30. So at winter, it's already like night. So I was walking home, and on the way to home, there were like this area that was like, it didn't have lights, so it was fully dark. And then there was that like this other way that you take me like 20 more minutes to get home. So I used to just go through the dark. I don't give a fuck. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let me go. And then I saw like this woman coming my way. And then I kept walking because I was scared. And then I saw this guy coming as well. And then I was just looking at him, and I kept walking. And then I just heard the woman screaming, help me, help me. And I was like, because I was very young, so I just run.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Now I feel bad, but I just run.
You were like,
I was like
10 years old or something, yeah.
But
so it's like you saw quite a bit, like crime.
I saw
stuff,
quite a bit. Yeah. I saw a little bit, man. And I feel like since young, I was like, I'll never, even like so my hero was my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that my dad did that was bad, I promised myself I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
My dad used to drink a lot of beer. So, you know, a normal man. And I was like, I'll never drink beer. Until I drink beer now, but not like I hate beer.
Yeah, you just kind of avoid it.
Yeah, I avoid it. But like, and I was like, I'm not going to smoke because my dad used to smoke a lot. I'm like, I'm not going to smoke. And to this day, I don't smoke. And I was like, and I was said like, I don't need to rob people. You know, I wanna be an inspiration for these people. I wanna like, you know,
inspire them.
Yeah, you know, why do we have like to take something that it doesn't belong to me? And to be honest as well, my mom was very strict to that as well. So it comes from your household, you know, and
what's like? How would you describe the culture in Lisbon or culture in Portugal?
It's a multicultural place.
Multicultural.
It's
like a lot of people getting together and.
Yeah. That's what we pretty much do. Like even like, I'm going to Portugal in December, and like that's what we do. Like we just go to each other's house, and then we just go to Lisbon, and we drink at the street. Yeah, and that's why like, when I left Portugal, I went to England, and people say, "Oh, you can't walk with alcohol." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, fuck! In Portugal you can." Like on a train, we used to drink sangria on the train. Yeah. And obviously, like by law, you can't. But police were on the train, like oh, it's cool. You know, as long as it's not glass. It's fine.
So like, a lot of like parties and stuff happening.
So a lot of parties. So I started to party when I was 15. And that's why I said like I started way young. Like alcohol, a lot of stuff like going out. I started everything when I was like 15 pretty much. So I left Portugal when I was 18. So from my 15 to my 18th, I was like a menace to society. In terms of like I used to party a lot. You know, and that's what fucked up my football career.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Because when I was 17 especially, I was in a pretty good level. But, yeah, it didn't end up working out for me to make it to the professional team.
I guess it might be difficult for a lot of like kids growing up in Lisbon, Portugal, you know, not a lot of opportunity. So it's like if you don't believe there's a lot of opportunity and you don't have a lot of positivity for the future, it's kind of like you would rather kind of party or just enjoy yourself in the moment rather than like, you know, working on yourself.
Yeah. It was kind of new to me, like, because it's like, even in high school, I'm trying to think the right answer. It's like, because I don't want to like sound rude or something. But everywhere I go, people look at me. I don't know if that's I don't know. But yeah, so even in high school, in school, wherever, I always been talented.
Oh, they look up to you.
They look up to me everywhere I go.
So you kind of always had that.
For example, my teachers, like I was the clown of the class, right? And like my teachers used to call my mom all the time and be like, "Your son is very intelligent, and he's wasting his talent. Like he's wasting all of that." My mom used to be mad at me because like they saw that I could reach. I had a lot of like, potential in everything I put my hand in. I'm always all right at doing it. Yeah. Like obviously, as it sounds rude, but that's just my truth.
So you're always sort of a little bit different to everybody.
I've always been different to everyone else in everything I do. Everything I put my hands on, even if it's working on a warehouse. Like I had warehouse jobs when I'm like top 5 best. kind of thing. Yeah. Like
So I guess you weren't really following what everyone else is doing. You're always sort of doing your own thing.
Things my way, and it's like not many people have courage to do things their own way. Yeah, but I always did, especially and as well. One thing, like when I was 15, that's where we started as well, the whole photography and fashion thing. Yeah. So we used to.
How did you get your hands on a camera?
Just my friend's camera. Up. Yeah. So my friend had like a camera. His mom had like a camera, and because we used to have like a different style than anyone else, like in Lisbon back in the days. Like also in the ghettos, like because the people that used to like follow us and stuff like that were like black people.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just be very straight. So for them, like we had like this different style. Like I remember on Facebook, like we used to have like 1,000 likes, 700 likes, and at that time that was like a lot. Do you get what I mean? And then so we sort of like made our name in the streets, because as well we used to throw parties, house parties. So my friend Claudio, he had like on his building, the top floor was ours.
Yeah.
So we put like a old ass couch there. We had a bed. We had a gym, and we used to throw parties there. We'd bring girls there. Just they used to smoke. I never smoked, but like they used to smoke. We used to drink, and we used to invite like a lot of people. So that's how we sort of like made our name in the street. But like at the same time, we were like dressing different. Like I remember my A$AP Rocky came on Tumblr, and he used to fight.
Yeah,
A$AP Rocky used to fight, and so we used to like see his fights and like, oh, who is these guys? No. And then obviously he dropped the proper swag. Yeah. And that's like.
So were you into fashion before photography?
I always been into fashion. I always say this. I came from an artistic family. They just don't realize. They never realize that they are artistic. Yeah. Like my dad wanted to be a painter, even though he's good at chefing, but he wanted to be a painter, right? My mom, she makes clothes. She makes cakes. She's very creative. And like, even though we were poor, my house somehow always looked nice. Yeah. You know, like my sister wanted to be a photographer. My mom said, nah, that's not a job.
So what did you start off shooting first? Like what sort of stuff did you start taking photos? Just clothes
us.
And clothes and your friends?
Me and my friends. So
you sort of saw A$AP Mob on Tumblr, and you're like, oh, they got photos on there. Let's try and take photos
like they used to take like group photos and stuff like that. Like with girls with green hair, like and in like Portuguese people, like we very like like religious and stuff like that, right? So we used to be like those kids that like we the rebels, kind of thing. And so we just wanted to showcase what we was doing at that time, which is like throwing parties. So
you wanted to document your life with the camera. And did you post these to
So
Tumblr
we used to post on Facebook.
On Facebook.
And Tumblr.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it didn't blow up like the same way A$AP Rocky did or A$AP Mob did. But like, people knew us. Like I remember,
so you got like a little bit, you got well known in your community.
Yeah, in our community. Because it's like, oh, these guys are like Americans. Because obviously we used to look up in America, you know, who doesn't,
you could make yourself look sort of
so
famous.
we were like the Americans of Portugal kind of thing. Yeah, I was stupid right now, but like at that time that's how it was. And so we wanted to document that. So I just grabbed the camera and started taking photos of my friends, start taking photos of the parties. We actually had like videos on YouTube. We hit like 5,000 views, which is
it's a lot for back then. It's not,
but back then was alright, and it's like 5,000 people still a pretty good number at that time. So, and I remember one of our videos actually on Facebook, it hit like 45K.
Wow!
At that time, I was like dancing or something.
Back then,
and
that's
huge.
Like,
so people knew us. Anyways, like people knew us, especially like low social economic neighborhoods. They knew us. So that's kind of like my introduction to fashion. And me and my friend Sule, we wanted to make clothes. That's like our dream. Like we used to go like on Photoshop, get like a hood and just put like things on top of it. But we never had the money. We never had the mentor. We never had nothing of that, because in our surroundings, no one was doing what we was doing. And that's why sometimes me and Sule joke about it. We say we were born in the wrong place, because if we was in America at that time, we probably would blow up. Yeah. But because we was in Portugal, and people used to laugh at us, because Sule, I remember Sule used to wear like a SpongeBob on his jacket. Yeah. And we used to have one of my friends, George, in Portuguese is Jorge, but in English George. His dad was good. He was like wealthy, so he used to lend us clothes. Yeah. He used to give us clothes
for photo shoots and stuff.
Yeah, and just like to rock it as well, because we didn't have money. Like, let's be real, we never had much money, right? So we actually never had much money. So he used to borrow us clothes. We used to just like borrow each other clothes. And he used to have these like Adidas, not Ralph Simmons, Jeremy Scott.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he had like do you remember the ones with the bones and stuff like that A$AP Rocky used to rock?
Yeah, I think
the bones.
so.
So he was like one of the first in Portugal to get that after of course A$AP Rocky did it. But like, and people on a train, they used to look at laugh like the old women, some people
because you had a different style.
Because the style there is very basic. You put Vans, jeans, and that's it. And we was rocking already brands, right? And that's how sort of like, obviously A$AP Mob was like a big inspiration for us. And then I can't lie, it was. And then even though like we wasn't really rocking the brands, we knew the brands, especially me and Sule. We were always looking at the trends in America. Like, we were always on Tumblr. Me and Sule always checking, always researching. Like, I remember we used to buy jeans at a flea market for like €5 and rip them.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, I remember going to high school and everyone's like, Mario, you're ripping your jeans. What is that? And I was like, bro, that's my style. And then a couple of years after, Zara started to
rip jeans.
Do you remember the ripped jeans? They used to sell it, and I was like, oh, so are you gonna laugh now? I was and I was like, obviously my ego. I was like, I was the first.
Yeah,
we was the first in Lisbon to wear it. Obviously, we wasn't in Lisbon, but like in our neighborhood, I was the first to ever wear this shit, bro.
Yeah.
So shut up, no. Yeah, so that was my first contact to fashion and photography. So I used to just grab a camera. I never.
Because I think like a lot of people growing up, just they didn't really think about fashion or style because you're struggling already. So it's just like it's not something you really think about.
And for us, it was like African people. I think African people are the best dressed people in the world. Tell me, no one can tell me anything different. We are. That's why, like, for me, we are. Because especially like I'm from Angola, and then there is this country called Congo. It's very close to Angola.
You're talking about the dandies?
The dandies and stuff, you know, like.
Yeah, the dandies are crazy.
You see a Congolese person, they always dress nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
sick.
Their own style, but like I love it. Being a person in fashion, like I love it, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I look at it and I'm like, damn, this guy's dope. But like in Africa, like my aunties, my uncles, my mom, they always dressed nice. And I think even though we was poor, they always dress nice. And I always say African people are the best dressed people. Like we know about fashion. We just don't.
Yeah.
It's just different than anyone else. But But so you know, you see your mom, you see your auntie, you see your uncles dressing fine. You see like African people dressing fine. So that's sort of like in my blood kind of thing.
And when you did you ever start shooting for different brands in Portugal or?
So me and my friends, we was just taking those photos for Tinder. Sorry. I've been on Tinder so much lately that
and single guys.
So on Tumblr.
Yeah.
So me and my it's funny. Me and my friends used to be on Tinder. On Tumblr, not Tinder. And so that's our goal. Like because like we didn't really have a goal.
Yeah.
We was just taking photos. We just like documenting. And then we met this guy called Will. So in our neighborhood, like Portugal Lisbon is divided by like lines kind of thing. Yeah. So we call it like LS. So my line was Sintra. So do you know where all the palaces are?
In Lisbon?
In Sintra, yes. So in Sintra. It's like 20 minutes out of the city. So our line is the Sintra line, the palaces. Yeah. When you go to the last station, the palace and all of that. The castles and all of that. So that's my line. The Central line. So on that line, we were known, right? My friends, everyone knew us. But then if you go to the Cascais line, which is like the beach, kind of like a Fremantle line, like kind of like a Cottesloe, some people knew us, but not many people knew us because that's more like a rich environment.
Yeah.
And then like my goal was, I was like, bro, we need to make more. Like we need to start make our own clothes. We need to start go around. So we start to go parties there.
Yeah.
Because we're like, we need to go to that demographic. And I remember I was 15. That's when I was like 15. And I remember me being 15, and I was like, I knew this girl that she like owned, so her parents owned like a nightclub.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew her, and we used to get like free entry, and that's where sort of like because and that's where we started to like go to more to Lisbon, like the city, because it was a bit far. My mom was like, I was like, she didn't know I was in Lisbon. She thought I was like in the neighborhood, but I was actually in Lisbon. Yeah. So we started to go to all those parties, and we met this guy called Will, and Will were already in the street where scene in Lisbon. We were like in the ghetto. They were like more in Lisbon. But Will were from our line. So yeah, we just met Will, blah, blah, blah. And then Will said, bro, there is these guys that are doing pretty much the same as you guys are doing, but they're doing for brands.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn, real? He said, yeah, check the workout. They shooting for Places Plus Faces. That was actually the first contract I had with those brands. And I was like, damn, cool. And then Will so they shot this French brand called For Very Cool Kids. And then Will had a tee from that brand. And then we were like in Lisbon, and I had my camera, and I was like, Will, let me take a photo of you.
Yeah.
And I took a photo because I like the train station.
Yeah.
So I took a photo, boom. And then I posted on my Instagram, and I tagged the brand. And they reposted it. And then they said, oh, do you guys want to do a photo shoot? I will just send you clothes and you guys do it. I was like, cool, I don't mind, bro. I'm not even trying to get paid. I just want to get some clothes. Yeah. I just want to get into it. And then they sent to us. So that was my first contact with a brand. So it was For Very Cool Kids, a French brand. They sent me. I was so gassed. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we got our first brand. So because of Will, we were like, okay, so our next level now is brands. Let's try and bring brands. So I used to just like DM a lot of brands, bro. Obviously, not all of them replied to me, but a couple did get back to me, and then that's sort of like I started to shoot to brands, but it was like small brands.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it out fun. So they used to send me like a hoodie, and I would just go and shoot a friend of mine.
So you first shot For Very Cool Kids, and it was like that was your first sort of experience shooting that, and then you tagged them, and they saw you, and then you kind of realized, oh, if I contact other brands,
and I was like, if I contact
other brands, I can work with them.
And I even, do you know, Hood Bayer, HBA? HBA is like a very big streetwear brand. I emailed them because like one of my friends, they had a hoodie from HBA, and I sent them the photo shoot I did. And then I said, oh, can I work for us? Yeah. can I work for you guys? Yeah. And they said, oh, we like they were big. But I didn't know that they were that big. Now, like, I look back at the emails and I'm like, God damn. And they said, we like your photos. Send us your portfolio. Cool. And then we think about it.
So that kind of shows.
They're from America, though.
Yeah.
that's pretty, I couldn't even speak English.
That's pretty crazy. Like, they're in America, you're in Portugal. And just because your photos were good, it's like about the quality of your photos. Yeah. That's how they were, like, in contact with you. It wasn't like you had a massive following or, like, all this, like a lot of attention around you.
And they were like a quite big brand.
School level. They saw your school level, and then they were like, we want to work with this guy.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't say I want to work with this guy. They just said, we like your photo. Send us your portfolio and your CV, so we can have a look, and then we sort of like discuss. But at least like I got their attention, and like HBA is a big brand.
Oh, you didn't work with them?
I'd never worked with them because I said, can I work with you guys? It's like work for you.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But they were like in America. So, and I never sent my portfolio because I didn't have one. I didn't even know what portfolio was.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't know what. I was like, well, nah, I don't have it. I'm just trying to get clothes. Yeah. You know? Like I didn't have that mentality.
So who did send you clothes? If you were like a list of brands?
Oh, a lot of brands. There was like this brand. So that was actually this big. At that time, they were big brand called Youth Machine. Mm-hmm. They were quite big at that time, and they sent me. They sent me like so many outfits, and I was like, like I was so gassed because like that was the first brand that sent me so many clothes. They sent me like 2 boxes full of clothes.
Yeah.
And then like I did like a full photo shoot, and it wasn't paid. So like I didn't. I only started to get money like recently.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like maybe 3 years just before I came to Australia. 3 years and a half.
So you kind of
that's where I started to actually get money on it.
You started doing random shoots, and then you realized you kind of needed a portfolio, so you kept shooting. And where did you post these photos to?
Just on my Instagram.
Instagram.
Just on my Instagram. Yeah. So because I was playing football at the time, I didn't care. Photography was a hobby because
okay. So you didn't really take it that seriously. It was just kind of like a side.
I only started taking photography serious this year. So this is my first year that I was like, Mario, you need to put effort.
So before your focus was football?
Before my focus was football. Last year, that's the first year that I came out saying I'm a photographer. Because before it was like Mario, the guy that has style that wants to be a footballer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then last year I was like I'm getting old. Football is no.
Yeah.
I had my chances.
Did you?
It's not working.
Is that how you went to England? Is it for football?
Yeah. So I went to England when I was 18 for football. But then I didn't adapt to the football there. To the football there. And then 3 years after I went to Spain to play for this club. I was there for 1 month. Unfortunately, something happened with the papers, and I had to go back to England. Yeah. And I was like, I want to leave England now because I came here for football. It's not really working.
So what's the scene like in England when you were there?
Amazing. Like in terms of what? In terms of fashion,
like people and culture and fashion and
multicultural place. London is a hell of a city, bro. I love London.
Good vibes.
I was living in Manchester.
Yeah.
Which is up north. It's more like kind of like small-minded people, but it's amazing. Party in terms of if you want to go party in England, don't go to London. Go to Manchester, Newcastle, Liverpool. The parties there are amazing. That's where like I was going out like every weekend. But in terms of fashion as well, is doing great. He's doing great right now, and he was doing great at that time. But yeah, now like I was just there for football. So let me tell you So I left Portugal when I was 18. So I was in school in Portugal doing sports, just for you to like I wasn't really fashion wasn't really my goal. I always said when I make it to the professional, I'm gonna have a brand. I wanna have like this big. I always had this thing that I was like I need to be like very famous. I need to get like my own brand, blah blah blah, because I loved fashion. I love fashion until this day, and that was the reason why I started photography, was because of fashion. Yep. Like I just did fashion, and I still to this day just doing fashion, because I think like that's my first love. My first love isn't even photography.
Did you shoot much in England? So much fashion?
Yeah,
did you work with any brands over there?
Yeah. So when I went to England, I was studying, and like my mom can't really afford to send me money or whatever, so I just went on my own. I had to find a job, and I was studying in college. Sports.
What were you working? How did you get money?
So my first job was at Selfridges. My first ever job.
What's that?
Selfridges is like a department store. It's like a David Jones, but it's like a million times better. It's like one of the best in the world.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I think in 2018 they won the best department store. But like, it's a very very famous.
You're working in retail?
I was working like as a.
So what sort of stuff were you selling?
So I was at Armani, Stone Island.
Wow.
Michael Kors, CP Company.
So it's still like fashion. You were like interested.
It was in fashion because fashion, So and I couldn't even speak English, but thank God I got a job, and I was working. I started as a Christmas temp, so just like a salesman, and I was selling okay, so they kept me after Christmas because I only had like a 2-month contract, and they said we want to have you like as a part-time. So I was working part-time there, and at the same time doing my education in physical education, like to be like a PE.
Oh yeah,
kind of like coach. So that was like my option B in case I didn't make it in football.
Yeah.
And then like I was like I didn't have much money. So I was like, man, how I need to dress nice. How can I dress nice? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna message brands.
Yeah.
I'm gonna message brands. So I started to message a lot of brands, and they used to send me clothes in exchange of content, and I used to do like content. I first started as like, I got this guy that was in my college, and he was into photography, and I said, "Oh, do you want to photograph me? Because I've got a lot of brands that are interested in doing something. Do you want to do shoots with me?" And because I didn't have a camera.
Yeah.
I didn't have a camera, so that's why like it took me like a couple months to actually get into that, because I found that guy. That guy was like my savior, because he had like this Nikon. He used to borrow me after. Yeah. So I started like as he was taking photos of me. So I was like, let's go to this location. I'm gonna style myself, and I want photos like this.
Yeah.
And then he used to take the photo, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be a model. I'm actually awkward in front of the camera. And I was like, can you borrow me your camera?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, bro, anytime you want. He liked me so much. And I was like, bro, anytime you want, I'll borrow you my camera. And I was like, cool. So he was borrowing me his camera, and I was just like taking photos of guys there. Like people from my college, just like they had like a nice aesthetic. I just started.
So do you think England's where you really started to find your passion
England,
for photography?
Yeah, because
like before it was just like
before it was just like
you learned how to
my
use
friends.
it and documenting.
Yeah, so I went to a complete different world. I didn't have friends, and I didn't have money. Football wasn't going well. I hate the football in England, like grassroots. Obviously, like the Premier League, I love it. Yeah. But like the grassroots, I hate the whole culture. So I wasn't really going well. I couldn't speak the language. At some point, I was even like thinking of going back home.
So you couldn't speak English at the time?
Yeah, you can see by my accent that my English is at this age is still not the best in terms of my accent. But yeah, man, like I was struggling with English. I was struggling like my first year, and then I started to take photos, and that's sort of like I was like,
which brands did you work with?
So I actually worked with this Manchester-based brand called Hood Lab, and at that time they were actually going well, Hood Lab, and that's sort of like people started to sort of like see my work, and then because some people from France as well had seen my work because of For Very Cool Kids. I messaged all the French brands, so they used to send me a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
that was the good thing about it. And then yes, that's kind of like I had to like be creative because I didn't know people. I had all these clothes in my house. I didn't have a camera. I had to borrow a camera. And then I was like, I actually enjoyed doing, like, I actually love doing this. And because I was working in Selfridges, I learned a complete different world. Like I learned about clothes, and I was like, in Selfridges, I was very quiet. Because obviously I was learning English and I didn't really know about British culture. So I was like very quiet, trying to like understand what they actually talk about and all these things. But at the same time, I was there because I wanted to learn about fashion. Yeah. And I think Selfridges was like a big piece, like for me, like it was like a big
influence on you.
Influence on me because I learned a lot. I learned about brands. I learned how you buy it. All of that. Yeah, so that was like, I was like, okay, like I actually enjoy fashion more than I thought. And my work started to like, go, like a couple, I remember this French magazine said to me, oh, we want to do like an interview with you. And I was like, fuck.
With you? Oh, really?
He's getting
and this is in England?
This is in England, yeah.
So it's kind of like,
so I was like,
you hadn't been shooting for that long and they want to interview you. So it's like a good sign, hey?
And then because Hood Lab was going well as well, and I did a couple shots for them, my shot went to this magazine called like Freezy Mag or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm getting to magazines. And then I messaged this Korean brand, and they were called Respect. So this all in England. Yeah. And then Respect sent me.
Do you just DM on Instagram or email or
Instagram?
Instagram, okay.
So Instagram.
Wow.
And they sent me they said, okay, we love your work. I want you to do our campaign, full campaign. Cool. Yeah. And I was like, cool, I'm not even going to charge you. Just send me the clothes. I'll keep the clothes. Yeah. So they sent me like boxes full of clothes. Wow. And I was like, okay, this is my chance to see where I'm at.
So already you're reaching like globally, like you're not just reaching your community.
No, because I wasn't. One thing that I actually like in England that I could be better was like in England, I actually did, like in Manchester, I didn't like connect much with the community there. Oh, okay. Like I was connecting more with Portuguese community, even it being in England than the British ones. That's like the thing that was like I could have done that better. Yeah. Because like if you didn't know me, you at least knew. Like if you're like in the streetwear scene, fashion scene, you didn't know me, but you at least saw my photo somewhere. That's in England. So that's where I was like, okay, I can get somewhere with this, because like, you know, I'm not even putting effort. I'm like just shooting for brands, and people like my work and my aesthetic. If you look at my old photos, if you go on my Instagram and scroll, my aesthetic still the same to this day. I never changed. I still edit our old-fashioned way, which I'm not going to eat a secret, but I'm just saying, I still edit everything the way I used to. Now I'm learning more about, you know, Photoshop, because I have to. Yeah. Photoshop, Lightroom, all of that. I'm learning about cameras a little bit more. Like I recently just bought a Sony.
So you've had the same camera?
So I had the same camera. So a year before I left, so 2018, that was when I started 2015. I only bought my camera in 2018. And it was like a very cheap Canon, which I still have to this day. So only last year, December last year, I bought a new camera.
Yeah, because I see your sort of style. I think the camera you had at the time was a Nikon.
It was a Canon.
Oh, it was a Canon? Yeah, like it was a Canon, and you used like the pop-up flash.
Yeah, it has like yeah. So it's like a film camera, but it's digital.
Yeah,
so
that's
because
what I thought.
It's very old.
Yeah, it's got that old aesthetic.
It has all, but I love it. Like it works for me.
Yeah, it's the same sort of style.
But because I was like late last year and earlier this year, I was like, let me try and shoot like food. Let me try and shoot things that are not fashion.
Yeah.
Let me try and get more like experience on that. See,
because your style is capturing cultures.
Yeah.
So
I went to shoot like food and blah 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 with my new camera. I was like, nice quality and shit. But I was like, I hated it. Every second of it, I hated it.
I think you're more into like shooting people and
because that's why I started. That's my passion. It's like telling stories through a camera, but in my way, with my aesthetic. I don't want to look professional. I just want to do my way.
Yeah.
But Manchester had like these. Manchester is like very rainy, so the streets look like a bit dirty and wherever. So I was like, my photos always had like, everywhere. Like for example, in Portugal, if you see my Portuguese photos, my photos in Portuguese, like the ghetto, like that one that you can see.
Like, we've like got your website here, so
it has like my neighborhood at the back. It's more like I can go to the ghetto, grills, all of that. When in Manchester was like more like I want to show the Manchester like vibe. I want to show like.
So like, is this is in
raining.
Portugal?
This is in Portugal. So this is like 2019 before I came to Australia. I was trying to get into more like storytelling, and I just did like this quick project with my family. Like this is all like my good friends. Yeah, that was like something quick. But I feel like my photography, it's like, I hate those like professional, I have to be professional. It's like, for me, it's more like a documentary.
I feel the same, like, honestly, especially in Perth, I have to say, like, the photos are just very like stock standard, and there's no like, you don't get that feeling. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, everything has to be perfect. But when it's too perfect, it takes something away from the shots.
I guess that's the industry, right? Like, you kind of have to be like it depends who you want to be.
At a professional level, you want everything clean.
You have to, a professional, you have
like
to
clean up the skin, like.
But like as I was saying, like last year, I was like, okay, football, forget football.
Yeah.
You either trying to get into like be like an agent, because at the end of the day, I do have a lot of contacts in football. I do know like a lot of agents, and I was like, maybe I can try to be an agent, or I can try to be a coach, or I can try to be like I've got the physical education certificate. I can try and go to uni and do physical education because I love sports. At the end of the day, I still love sports to this day. But I was like, let me try my fashion. Let me be creative. So this was last year, right? So I was like, let me just jump on projects.
Is this some of the projects?
No. So this was in England. So this campaign was for Grimy, so a Spanish brand.
A Spanish brand?
Yeah. So
okay.
this was, and that photo shoot actually went to GQ. So that was my first GQ. Okay. So this was just before I came to Australia.
Okay.
So and that was actually one of the first campaigns I actually got paid like really good money.
Oh, cool.
So that was like 2019. No, 2018. Sorry. But like as I was saying, I I was like, right, let me just go to photography. Let me just try this. If it doesn't work, then I can always go back to my sports thing. So I jumped in a lot of projects to try to figure out who I am as an artist, because I'm like, man, I don't even love photography that much. I think like photography was a tool that I found to document what I have in my head.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But like I always been like, in love with fashion.
Yeah.
I always wanted to make clothes. I always wanted to like do like special projects. So this is in Portugal. So like this is in a ghetto called Ghetto 6 da Maia.
This is they sent you the clothes?
This is a French brand, yeah. So this French brand sent me that clothes. And that photo, the guy with the grills, I think, keep going. No, the other way. Yeah, keep going. That last photo has been on so many magazines.
Yeah.
And so many, like, that's sort of like my best photo in terms of like going to magazines and platforms. Everyone loves that photo. And it actually been in a Brazilian magazine recently.
Wow. And how do they reach out to you and say?
So this actor from Portugal, so that magazine is a magazine called Media Ninja from Brazil, and they trying to expand to Portugal. And so they collaborated with this Portuguese actor, which is a famous actor.
Yeah.
So they wanted to do like, so they wanted to document kids creatives that came from like rough backgrounds and are doing well in photography. And so the guy selected me as one of the kids that like getting the name out there.
Yep.
And so they did like an interview
and
they showcased that or the photo with the grills.
And this is Grimy.
And that's Grimy as well.
This is in...
Yeah, Grimy is still like a really good partner. Like since that first photo shoot that you just showed in Manchester, I've been working in Grimy for days. Like I worked with
This is
Grimy.
in Portugal?
This is in Portugal. So I worked with Grimy in Manchester, I worked with Grimy in Lisbon, and I worked with Grimy in Perth. Like and now I'm going back to England and I'm gonna work with them again.
You
so
like a good
that's like a long
with them,
that's like family right now. And that's my thing. I like to all my clients, I like to treat them like I try to create like a good relationship. So that becomes like family to me. So,
and what are you sort of looking for when you're shooting? Like what atmosphere are you trying to create?
At the start, but before it was more like whatever comes to my mind, I'll just do it. But now it's more like structured. It's more like what is the brand looking for, and what can I like introduce that is new, kind of thing. Like, you know, now it's more like I can't really explain. It's just like it's how I feel. Like what kind of stuff? Like I always think like this: what is the brand trying to show, and what story am I trying to tell?
Yeah. So it's about.
So that's now now for me it's more about the story. But like as I was saying, like last year, I was just jumping into projects and trying to figure out who I am as an artist, because like if I want to be like a normal photographer, you just go and work like for a team. Or for a brand, or if you want to be like a freelance, you just go.
So last year you're trying to find your style. That's interesting to me because it looks like you've always had style.
I always have mine, but like at the same time, it's like, so I got to a point that I was like, okay, cool. The brand send me clothes, I do photo shoots. Cool. What's next? I'm bored already. I want to go to. I want the Nikes. I want the Adidas. I want to be recognized in this industry because, like, okay, I'm already.
Yeah, because it feels like you knew you were into fashion and that's all you were shooting. So.
But I was like, I want to know what else I like, because it's more. I just felt that I felt the need of like I need to explore more, because it's like, okay.
You mean different styles of photography or different things you want to shoot? Is that?
I don't know, because so I got to a point where it's like I'll need to make this as a job. So photography or wherever has to be my job. So I was trying to figure out, am I just a photographer or am I something else?
Oh, okay.
You know, because the only thing that I do photography is because of fashion. So I was like, let me see if I really like photography. So let me try food. Let me try a dentist photo shoot. Yeah. And I hated it. So in my mind, it's like, okay, you only went to photography because you love fashion. So that's why. So number one, I found fashion is my area. Yeah. But am I just a photographer? Or am I something else? Yeah. So you saw like we did Sneakerland. Like I was like, oh, let me try and jump into project.
Different things, yeah.
Creative director, shoes, all the things that, and I was like, yeah, I like this. You know, I'm not just a photographer.
Yeah.
Because if I wanted to be a photographer, I would just work as a marketing person in Dickies or wherever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I hate those kind of jobs. So it's sort of like, I feel like, for example, the work that you're showing right now, in my work in my Instagram, my website, I hate it. I hate it just because I have so many ideas in my mind that I haven't put it out there, that I'm like, I feel like my best work is only coming now.
Yeah.
Like all my past work, I hate it right now. People love it, but I'm like, I don't really like it.
I think that's always the case with photography. Like you're always shooting better. You're always improving and improving. So when you look back, you're like,
it's
not that
it's
good.
not. Yeah, but like I was trying to find myself, and I was like, what's next? Because I'm trying to shoot big brands.
Yep.
I want to go to the next level. What's the next level for me? And I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna go full on in this industry, and that's why this year I was like, okay, I'm a creative. I'm a creative director. I'm gonna start making my own clothes. I'm gonna open my shop. I'm gonna open my agency, and I'm gonna be taking.
But it's all surrounding.
But it's only surrounded through the same thing. But at least like I went through the process last year of trying to figure out who I am as a creative. It's not just Mario the photographer. Like, because like I hate being in for example, we was like in presidential rooms like with important people, and I'm like, yeah, this is the photographer. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm the creative. I'm the creative director of this shit. Yeah. Let me talk my ideas too. Like, I'm not just a photographer. So and that's why I was like, I'm gonna remove the photographer title. I'm like, I can do photography as well, but I'm a creative. I'm a creative guy.
And with because I was noticed with these shots here, because this is back in Perth.
Yeah, so that was
this is for Grimy.
Grimy, yeah, Perth.
Because you obviously trying to capture that same sort of style. You know what I mean? That's for street style. So can you talk me through your process of like maybe finding locations and choosing models? And at
that time, that was like my first year in Perth.
Yeah,
I didn't know people. So I always, when I moved to a new country, I just follow people. I just go, I'm a big researcher. I just go and research things. See how is the fashion, how it's like, I knew a lot of people before I even came to Perth.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just followed them, and I was just like trying to talk to people. So I was like, Grimy messaged me and be like, okay, we want to do something in Australia. Can we do something? I was like, okay, cool. And I found those two models, and I just went around the city.
And what were you looking for?
Around Fremantle. I just wanted to do like something that like street kind of thing. It wasn't like, I didn't tell any stories on those photo shoots. It was just like, this is a new city. Let me try to make it like with the same aesthetic.
Yeah.
As my photos kind of thing.
And how was it different shooting, say, in Portugal and England to Perth? Was it?
I think just like the aesthetic of the streets are different. But like at the same time, in Perth is like, I feel like people don't really, people just shoot like the same stuff. It's not, people are not, like even on the models, if you realize a lot of the Perth-based brands, they have the same models. All of them, and I hate it. I hated me as a creative. I hate to use models that everyone else is using. So my models were like, I just saw someone with a good aesthetic on the street, and I just go and approach them, and we make something happen. So that's how I still to this day like do that. Yeah,
I haven't noticed that. I always like finding new people, connecting with new people, and fresh faces.
Yeah. So, but I feel like, and that's why like a lot of people in Perth say, "Oh, there is no many models." I'm like, there is a lot of models. If you go and search for it, you'll find someone who like a good aesthetic. And that's what I sort of like still do to this day. It's like just every time I go party, I always look to people. Every time I go out, I don't have a car at the moment. I drive my friend's car quite a lot, but like I don't have a car, so I go on, like I don't have any problem. I go on a train. I like the train because I live in Cottesloe. Yeah. So every time I go to the city, I just get a train, and like I go and look for people. Yeah.
And what sort of people are you looking for?
Just whoever has a nice. Also, it depends on the project, but whoever has like a nice aesthetic. I see all aesthetic. Like,
so like style and like.
I have a lot of models already lined up. Like I'm like, fuck, I have this kid is really good, but he would be good for like a more classic vibe.
Yeah.
I've got this kid that has like an amazing aesthetic. He would be good for streetwear kind of vibe. So I already have like a list of models that I haven't worked with, that I'm trying to get more work to put them. But yeah, that's how I find models, just like day-to-day life. So some on Instagram, other people's like Instagram. I'm like a big researcher. I research a lot.
Yeah.
So
you kind of like, before you came here, you were kind of finding like the culture in Perth. You were seeing like who's in the scene, like what sort of.
Who's in the scene, who does this. I went to all the fashion stores and I was like, followed them.
You talked to them or you followed them?
Talked to them. I was like, I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me get a job. So I went to everyone and like, let me get a job. But everyone was like, oh, we don't have any vacancies. And I was like, oh, Perth is really, they only has like 5 stores. I thought like Perth is in Australia. Like in Europe, we think Australia is like this big, like massive thing, right? Yeah. Obviously, Melbourne and Sydney are on like a different level. But like I came to Perth, I thought Perth was like a massive city, whatever. It has like a lot of.
Yeah, what is your perspective on Perth coming from? Like Lisbon and England and like, honest,
I thought Perth was a suburb in Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
But then my ex-girlfriend, which was like the person that came with me, she said, oh, no, we actually in Western Australia. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me go and do my research. So I went and do my research on Australia, Perth, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, it looks nice because like, the photos are quite nice. So I was like, oh, wow, this city is a city. I call it city. It's amazing. And then I came here and it's like, wait a minute. Even Lisbon is more advanced than this. And Lisbon is like, we have like less money, but we're more advanced than this.
You're talking like culturally
I'm talking
advanced?
about Perth. I'm talking about everything. Not everything, but like in terms, I'm talking about in terms of like even in fashion, I feel like Portugal has
like
more.
There's definitely more happening there. There's more happening because
I mean in that way. I mean
Perth economically is
Australia. Perth economically,
it's like
first world. And I'll give that to Australia economically. Yeah, like in terms of money. Yeah, Perth is the best. Australia is the best country I've ever been. Perth is one of the best cities I've been because you don't live paycheck to paycheck. Like if you live in London, England, okay, amazing. Food in England is crap. Sorry, my British friends, I love you guys, but like the food, let's be honest, food is crap. It rains all the time. It's like in England is like a place, at least for me, I'm talking to myself. This is my opinion. I love London. But like I knew that I was gonna leave. I was gonna leave at some point. I never had like I never said I'm gonna live in London forever because it's like it rains all the time. The food is not the great food. You live paycheck to paycheck. And like the standards are so high in terms of like you need to dress nice. Like people dress nice. There is a lot of parties. So, you want to try to be budget, but you want to go out as well. Whereas in Australia, you can find that balance, right? You can find that balance. It like, obviously you need to be like good at savings or wherever, but like you can find that balance, even work. At least I found that balance because, I'm used to have no money. When I came here, I had a little bit. So I'm like, I managed to sort of like find the balance of like, I can actually have a good life. So like I can actually go to the beach. I can enjoy. The food here is amazing. The beach is amazing.
Man's living in Cottesloe now.
I live in Cottesloe. So I used to live in a fucking ghetto. So I can move to Australia. I live in Peppermint. Actually, I live in Peppermint Grove.
Yeah, which is like the...
I'm joking. But I'm not joking. But I do live in that area. So I go to the beach quite a lot, so I love it, and it's sunny all the time. The people are good, the food is amazing, the coffee is great. Even though I don't drink coffee that much, but like it's great. The lifestyle is great. Yeah. But as a young person, I'm bored. I'm bored. There is no motivation in my area. The government, there is no really much investment on it. There isn't much happening. Same people, same things, so same like content, same style. And it's like, come on, Perth, let's go. Let's move a little
So like
more.
Economically, we got it like
you're pretty good.
Good economy, good transport system. Like
transport system is better in Europe.
Oh, it is?
The public? Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Because like we have like a monthly card. So for example, you pay like $50 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and you can travel
Wherever.
but you only pay $50 a month. Whereas in here, you like if I want to go to the city, it's like $5 every day.
Yeah.
Like every trip.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there is like you just pay a month and then you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper. But obviously not every country is perfect. But like everything else, I feel like Perth has it. And like
the laws and it's like a very safe city,
it's safe city, it's chilled. It's like the only thing that I would say that it's like Perth is almost perfect. Let's be honest, in terms of like lifestyle.
But there's something missing.
But there is one thing missing: culture.
Yeah.
Culture, and I feel like the old people have to listen to the young people a little bit more. It's like, cool, you live. I feel like if I can't talk about Sydney or Melbourne because I haven't lived there, but like I'm gonna say Australians. Australians need to listen a little bit more.
Like embrace culture.
But they, at the same time, for example, I had a lot of arguments because I'm a rebel, right? So when you're trying to like portray your country as perfect, I always say there is no perfect country. First of all, there is countries that like try to be like America. Like America, if we always talk about America, the only good thing that America has is like the economy. Bro, America is fucked. But forget America. But like Australians, I feel like I had a lot of arguments because I'm trying to explain that like, bro, your country is not perfect. Good economy, amazing lifestyle, but you're missing in culture. You're missing in embracing other people. It's like it's what you know and that's it. And your culture is the best. And I'm like, no, your culture isn't the best. Matter of fact, you don't have any culture.
Yeah,
you don't have culture.
I mean, we're a multicultural
society. The thing is like before I came to Australia, I thought Australia was like full of surfers with blonde hair and all of that. But then I came here, even like someone said to me, oh, in Perth, we don't have much black people. Yeah, I haven't seen much black people. Like, we actually don't have much. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, like I expected that. Because, you know, my idea was like a surfer kind of vibe. Everyone is hippie.
Well, that's the image
skaters,
that's
hippies,
portrayed,
blonde with blue eyes and movies, yeah. So that's what I thought Australia was, right? But then you come here and you see a lot of culture. And I'm like, but how is people not embracing those cultures? It's like you have a stereotype on black people and that's all you think, that black people are like that. But no, we're more than that. So embrace it. Embrace the culture that your country has. I feel like we like embrace a lot of the I'm talking we because I'm a permanent resident right now, so I can talk as we. I mean, I'm not Australian, but like I feel like, you know, I'm in the society. So
you've been here long enough to
my opinion.
have that perspective. Yeah.
So I say we. You know, if Australia actually let those cultures in, embrace it, and not trying to think that you're the best and your culture is the best, Australia would be close to perfect.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what's missing in Australia is the culture.
Yeah, culture is beautiful.
And culture is beautiful. It's cool to embrace it, to embrace other things. It's cool to embrace other cultures. And I feel like you guys embrace a lot of the Asian culture. I don't know if that's because if Asian...
Yeah, like we have Asian restaurants.
A lot of money in here. Like pretty much all the a lot of the restaurants in Perth are Asian. And I'm like...
Yeah.
Because I used to joke with my ex-girlfriend. I would say, can I eat something different?
Yeah,
because I'm tired of Asian food. Yeah. I like Asian food, but I'm not like great. I love my Portuguese, my African food. And I'm like, oh, can we eat something else, please?
Yeah, but it's true. We do embrace, say, Asian culture more than like other cultures. Like the food, and also like there's like K-pop, Korean dancing, and like fashion as well. There is that influence that you see here.
We just need to mix a little bit more. I feel like everyone is like doing their own
separated
thing.
When separated,
but because of like the both worlds sort of like don't know how to speak to each other. And it's like you're black and you're African, all your life it's racism and people being awkward around you. So you don't want to be you don't want to be in those surroundings. Like you just want to be with your own people kind of thing. And I feel like that's what happened especially in Perth.
And that's what's sort of missing.
And what's missing is like, let's connect.
And you actually did a shoot for Puma recently. So tell me about that, because that kind of embraced
the African culture for sure. Because like everyone was smiling in the photos. you know, and it's like, so the African Cup of Nations, the final was in February this year, and I hit up Puma. So and fun fact, I hit up Puma Australia, and I was like, right, I have this idea.
Is it on your website or is it just here on Instagram?
Just on Instagram for now, but I need to update my website. But like, I was like, I said to Puma Australia, I have this idea. You know, I wanna go and explore the African culture in Australia because I feel like we don't broadcast it enough. And you know, Puma sponsor a lot of countries. Let's do something. No reply. So I have a contact in Puma Germany, which is like the main Puma kind of thing. And then she's like the marketing responsible for it, Puma Select. And I was like, I sent the same message for her, and she was like, I love the idea. Yeah, it's true. It's not broadcasting enough. I'll send you a couple kits. Let's see what you come up with. And I came up with that. They loved it.
So Puma Germany like messaged you back and wanted to collaborate, but Puma Australia didn't.
Australia, no. And I was like, why? Because, you know, and that just helps on sales. I had a lot of people asking, oh, Mario, where can I buy? I really want to, you know, a lot of, especially there is a big Ghanaian community in Perth. And everyone was like, bro, where can I find that tea? Where can I buy it? I can't buy it anywhere else. And I'm like, Puma Australia could be making money on it because like people will want to buy it and people want to feel represented. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like in Australia, like they don't represent those cultures enough. Like we don't broadcast it enough. Even if it's like you don't have to put in all your projects. But you can do special projects. And put like,
I think if
go
big
explore
brands
those communities.
embrace that, and big brands like even connected with these smaller communities, it'd be good for them and for the community, and actually it'll make them more popular.
They are actually doing that a lot in America and in Europe, which is like, let's explore more the underground, let's explore more those minorities, because like, bro, why not? You know, it is your country, and that's why people, for example, people love London because it's a multicultural place.
So London's really embraced
multiculturalism. Of course.
How so? Like, what's an example?
Bro, you can easily walk up in the street, you see like a Jamaican restaurant. There is representation in TV. There is representation in modeling, both of behind the camera and in front of the camera. So obviously, it's not at that big level, like America, for example, but there is, right? Because at the end of the day, England is a little bit racist as America as well, but like there's still racism, but like you see more representation, like on the news. Like for example, in Portugal, I never saw a black journalist on the news. Only like 2 years, a couple years ago, I wasn't even living in Portugal anymore. There was like the first black man on the news, and I was like crazy. But in England, I saw
England's more
one.
progressive.
In England, I saw one. In England, I saw, you see black actors. You see, obviously, a lot of them do like this, you know, the same criminal whatever. But like you can see like people who are black winning Grammys, and I feel like.
And do you see big brands supporting
big brands,
small communities?
You have big brands with like black photographers, black creatives. Not as it should be, but at least there is something. Like, you know, I feel inspired. They have a lot. They have like for example, when I was hired, like I didn't feel any racism towards me or whatever. And there were like a lot of black people working in Selfridges. There is a lot of Selfridges black creatives. They collaborate with black artists. All of that, but in Australia you don't see that much. Like in the big corporations, I feel like the big corporations in England, they understand that London is a multicultural, because like, let's be honest, there is a lot of black people in London, like a lot. There is a lot of mixed people as well. So like, and like, you know, they embrace it. I mean, they kind of have to, but I don't think Australia like does that very well. I feel like we're missing on.
So we don't embrace.
You don't embrace the culture they have,
the
communities they have. You don't do it. Everything is white, and white. Do you get what I mean? And like even the For example, I feel like brands in America, they go deep into like who is doing it, who is the next creative, let's tell stories, let's go and try to find a creative. And Australia is more like word of mouth. Like, for example, brands like, I don't know, Foot Locker don't go and let's do a special project on something. Let's go and do it. And like the content, like, I want to tell you one thing. Go to Foot Locker Europe Instagram and go to Foot Locker Australia Instagram, or like any other brand. You're going to see a massive difference on who they model, who works for it. It's just like Australia is everything is white, bro. And it's like, and I'm not saying, obviously, like, there is more white people in Australia.
Yeah.
Right? So, of course, because, like, when I used to be in those rooms, and I was like, oh, how comes there is no black person in here? How come? And I used to get angry. And I was like, oh, okay, there is more white people in Australia than black. So it's normal that I'm going to see more white people than black people.
I
feel like that's normal.
Yeah.
Once I started to realize how Australia is, I feel like that's normal. But then it's how they look at me in that room and how they speak to me. It's like I'm inferior than anyone else. And I feel like that's what used to get me like really angry. It's like I'm talking, but like you'll see me as like an inferior person, but I'm in the same room as you. So how am I even inferior than you if we are on the same room here because of the art that we...
So you think you find that attitude is more common here than, say, England and other places?
Because in England it's normal to see a black person in the big room. In Australia it isn't normal. Do you get what I'm
So Australia's just
if I go to an
progressively
AFL
behind.
grand final,
if
I go to an AFL grand final, let's say on the VIP area or enterprise area, you can count how many black people are in there. If you go to a Wembley final and you go to the VIP area, there's going to be a lot of black people. That's normal. So if a black person is going to talk to me, that person is going to talk to me as normal, right? Because it's normalized. It's normal. Whereas in here, they're going to talk and it's like they surprised that I'm even in that room.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense. Now, did I explain well? Or?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel being in those big rooms. Because especially last year, we were like in a lot of like, corporate rooms and stuff like that. And I feel like people were like kind of like surprised that we was there. And it's like, bro, I'm in my room because of my creativity. Same as probably your daughter or whatever. But to me, you're going to talk like I'm inferior.
Yeah.
Just because, they put me in the box like so easy, and it's crazy.
I was trying to find that David Jones campaign, but I couldn't find it because you posted. You made a post about it on your Instagram.
Because
I don't know where it is, but
recently on the Father's Day
campaign,
they did like a campaign, and I saw on LinkedIn because I have someone. I think he's the one. Someone from David Jones, and they posted, we're trying to be inclusive, and we did this campaign, and I was like, that's dope because Australia needs to be inclusive. Australia needs to embrace more culture, and I went to check the whole campaign, and it was like you had there you go.
This one.
You had, the white family, which is normal. You had the indigenous family, which is amazing that they actually put an indigenous family in there. And then you see the LGBTQ community in there, two men's. And then they got the Asians. Where is the black family? Like I'm saying black as black. Like even like the content for me is just the same. All over again, the same thing. And I feel like we need, and I'm not talking just about Perth, I'm talking about Australia in general.
And it's like they're not including the different cultures because they want to. They embrace them. They're just including because from a marketing standpoint, we're going to look better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it is. So I feel like sometimes they put indigenous people on certain things because they have to. You don't mean it.
Not just indigenous.
But I'm just giving that example on like, I feel like.
I'll say like AFL, for example.
AFL, for example, I feel like a lot of brands or wherever they
trying to tick a box.
Just trying to tick that box on like, on like, okay, we need to have a native indigenous person on this photo shoot. Therefore, yes, that's our box ticked. But no, like make it like, come on, explore more of the culture. Go get indigenous people to photograph the actual campaign, get more creative stuff, like let's mix the cultures. Like,
because you can tell in your work you actually care. You actually
I care about who I'm shooting. And that's why like these years I've been so dependent on like, I need to have brands, I need to email those brands, and like all those big brands is like such like a long process. Like this year I've done like good, I've done good work with a couple of brands. Like my portfolio in terms of like big brands is getting bigger. Yeah. Even though obviously I'm not getting the big bucks yet.
Because you went to
I went to Sydney.
Yeah, tell me about that.
For Hennessy
and NBA.
It was amazing, man. Like, as I was saying, I grew up with A$AP Mob, and I actually met one of my heroes, A$AP Ferg, and it was amazing to meet him. He let me shoot. I've got videos, I've got photos of him, and yeah, man, it was amazing. But like, as I was saying, like, this year I was able to shoot like Puma, Champion, Dickies. Obviously, it was like collaborations and stuff like that. It's not the big, massive bucks, massive budgets yet, but like it's still something because I'm able to, I'm able to collaborate and show my community on big platforms, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So this was in Sydney.
So this was in Sydney.
Hennessy,
So that was like the first ever floating basketball court in the world.
Wow.
In Australia. I think they did something similar in America. I'm not sure, but yeah, I was invited by Corey Williams, which he was the host for it, and we was like documenting his experience because he's once in a life experience. It was amazing.
Got A$AP Ferg there.
Yeah. We actually he came to our area, and then he had a chat with Corey. We was there laughing, stuff like that. I told him, if I was there, it was because of them.
Yeah, so it would have been like a huge experience.
So it was a huge experience because
Lisbon,
and he actually followed me on Instagram.
You were influenced by A$AP Mob.
I was gassed.
Back when you were growing up in Lisbon, and now
and there you go. And now I met one of them. So and actually, I was talking to one of my friends last year, and I said that's crazy. And that's why I think I am where I should be, because I said to one of my friends last year, do you know A$AP Nasty is big in fashion, blah blah blah. And I said, bro, A$AP, I'm seeing A$AP Nasty's Instagram coming up on posts coming up so much on my Instagram, and he actually follows a lot of people that I follow. I'm feeling that like I'm gonna do something with A$AP Nasty soon. I just said I'm feeling because he's coming too much on my Instagram, and he actually follows people that I follow. Like, and I was like, I think I'm gonna do something. And then this year it happened like with Ferg, and I was like crazy. Same with like Puma. It's like my first ever boot was from Puma. Yeah, my dad's favorite brand is Puma. The first ever football brand that I did a collaboration with is Puma. After I left football was Puma.
So all ties back.
So it all ties back to wherever.
To growing up and your context and everything.
Yeah, and I feel like I am at the right place. Yeah. I am where I should be. But as I was saying, is like I'm very dependable on brands, and like I feel like I have so much to show, not just in photography, but like in terms of ideas. And that's why like this year I did after the Hennessy thing, I was like, okay, let me sit down, let me try to figure out how can I do my own thing. How can I pass my vision to people? So I'm opening my own business. Well, I'm in the process to open my own business. Before I left England, I opened a pop-up shop in Manchester. It was only like 3 months because I came to Australia and I had to make money. And it went well. Like I love that, and I was like, yes, that's me. Like I'm not only just gonna do photography. I'm gonna do more. Like, and that's why like I'm now like designing my own garments.
An agency, you saying?
And as well, we have this concept of an agency that we're gonna be like a hub as well, where we're gonna connect creative community in Perth or Australia to brands.
Yeah.
And like nurture, like mentor
I think
them.
that's something we need in Perth, because, you know, we're one of the most isolated cities in the world, and we struggle. I think collectively as creators, we want to work with these bigger brands. Like you go to Sydney and Melbourne, it's like easier
it's easier because they
work
are
with
there.
the bigger brands.
They are there. No one is in Perth, bro.
Yeah, no one's in Perth.
Let's be honest, no one is in Perth. So, and it's like, the way I see it is like Perth is a gold mine in terms of creative industry.
Yeah.
Because there is just so much to explore, but no one is really here. No one is doing nothing in here. Why not? Let's
collaborate and
let's
connect.
explore Perth. Let's come. You know, there is so many creatives, but I feel like the creatives as well in here, because like there is like one job for I don't know how, like for like 3,000, 5,000 creatives. Everyone is sort of like in an unhealthy competition of like, I'm not gonna help you because you might take my job. You know, and I feel like it's. I feel like we need to collaborate more. We need to come up together and
work together.
For example, if tomorrow I have a brand that wants to do like a night photo shoot, and I'm not the best at night photo shoot, I'm gonna be like, yo, I know my friend Harry, I'll be part of the shoot as a creative director or whatever, but let Harry photograph. Put a budget on that because he's better than me on that, or like
you
sort of like trying to find a way to like.
You get the best people for the job,
Because even on my photo shoots, I always have people around. Even if they're just watching, they're just there.
I think I've talked about it before, and I think it was like really sick campaign, really well done, was this the Puma campaign. And I've seen Puma collaborate with Butter Goods and also with the Pretty Soon agency.
Yeah.
So I think it's Taku's behind that. So I think Taku organized
and he put all the creatives
he got all these collaborators on
similar
it.
That. So we need
Something
more
like
of
that
and
would be amazing.
Actually, a lot of people talk to me about him. A lot of people said, "Oh, Mario, you should meet Taco because you guys have sort of like similar ideas. He has an agency. You guys should work together." And I was like, "I mean, why not? I'm waiting for the for the message. I'm why not? I'm like, obviously, my agency is sort of like, everything is like, it's not." We haven't released anything yet. But we in talks with a couple brands, and hopefully something's gonna happen. But like,
I think that idea of like, because he would have had that connection, and he could have probably just done it by himself. You know what I mean? But he got a lot of creators. So I guess that's sort of what you want to do as well. Like have an agency.
But like we want to mentor people as well.
Yeah.
So we want to help people as well, like in terms of mentoring, because I feel like a lot of creatives in here, they're good, but they don't have the mentoring. Some of them don't even know what they're doing. It's not like they're talented in what they do, but because they don't have them, they don't know where they should go. Like they don't have someone to give them advices or help with portfolios. I have this one of the kids, this kid, he's 22, that I met. He was like, Mario, can you help me with my portfolio? I said, bro, come to my house.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
we need more of that attitude, just like helping people, connecting, collaborating.
Just help people.
Because if we work together as creators, we can bring in these brands.
I feel like if Perth raised, bro, let's be honest, Perth standard is low in terms of, at least in terms of fashion. Like minds.
In general, it is,
publicity, those like Perth is okay. It's quite fine the way they do like the ocean. I love that. But in terms of fashion, it's quite low. It's very low, and I feel like that's why
niche people do it well, but in general,
it's not I feel like that's why probably brands don't come here because our standard is low. So if we be like, all right, let's improve our standard, because if we improve our standard, then they'll come because they'll see action coming in here.
And I think to make a change, you got to connect and create that culture. And I think that's what's sort of happening now in Perth a little bit more. Connecting,
I feel like there is more
collaboration,
but
and by
at the
changing
same
the
time,
culture,
it's like at the same time, it's like the community is not really a community. I don't feel the sense of community in terms of.
I feel a change though.
I feel it is like the kids are coming strong. I feel like, but like the older people not.
So basically, build up your portfolio.
Work. Regardless if you get 100, 200, 200, work. Because like
don't do it.
I want to do
money.
like
you
big
can't
campaigns.
really do it with the money for the beginning. Yeah.
I want to do
the
like
money will come. With
I have so many ideas of big campaigns for my if our store gets done, and I'm like, who is the videographer that I'm gonna have? Because I don't see much for what I'm actually trying to do, and I'm gonna be charged like 10K, and I'm like, okay, but that's not what. I don't know if I made sense, but
well, basically you're saying
I'm just saying
build
like
up your
to certain people, believe on what you're worth, okay, but when you don't have the work for it, trying to
build up your portfolio, know your work.
And if anyone wants help, if anyone needs help on portfolios, wherever, come to the yard. I'll help you.
And
I don't know if I made sense, but like,
well, I think you're trying to say build up your portfolio, get that experience first, and then the money will come.
And then start thinking about, the money
will come with your passion.
But I understand that, you need, at the end of the day, you need to get paid. But like, I'm just saying, if you wanna get like a lot of, you don't even have the work for it. It's kind of, but I don't know. I don't know if I made sense, but that's how I just I feel. Because like, makes sense. It was just like a piece of advice, like because I've been talking to a lot of
definitely portfolio for someone who's working with all those brands. They're open to collaborating with you because you're showing your portfolio. Exactly. It's not about followers or anything. It's about the quality of your work.
In Australia, though, it's all about numbers, and that's why the marketing is so artificial in it. Like as you were saying, I have when I'm gonna do a campaign, it needs to have a meaning for me to feel connected to it. Like I need to feel connected to it so I can produce my best job, my best work. And I feel like a lot of here is just all about the TikTok million views and whatever. We just do what's basic right now or what's. I don't know if I made sense, but
no, it makes sense.
But as I said, I've been talking to a lot of young creatives and it's like they're like, oh yeah, bro, but we don't get much jobs. Like, and then you're gonna look at the Instagram and you're like, okay, the reason you're not getting much jobs or whatever is because your portfolio. Oh, but I only do like paid work, which is fine if that's what you believe. That's good. You should go that way. But my advice would be keep those paid works, like keep charging whatever you want to do, like for gym stuff or whatever. But like for like if you want to do like more fashion campaigns, then collaborate more. Then approach this brand from Perth and be like, okay, send me a hoodie, and I will do a campaign and do so you can show works to a big brand. That's what I kind of mean.
Like you did when you were first starting. You were doing shoots for just clothing. You want money.
Like, and even now, like I'm still not at a level of like going to Nike and be like, oh, okay, Nike, work with me. No, I have to hustle. Like I've been trying to. Actually,
so hopefully we can get there with connecting with people and getting new brands. I see that one day. I think that's my goal. Even with this, is to make big brands aware that we've got amazing creators in Perth and. Hopefully we can connect.
Before that, you have to create that platform to get to a certain point. Then that you're like, look,
because I think if
McDonald's, can you sponsor me with drinks? We be getting this amount of views. The platform is this. We got this. Blah blah blah.
For sure. You need to build it up before they connect.
I'm gonna charge you with thingy.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's
on sort of a more.
That was like another sort of like.
That was a little rant.
Advice. And as I said, like I don't know if I really made sense.
No, it makes sense.
Hopefully I did.
On a more positive note, what are you enjoying seeing here in Perth, like in the Perth cultural scene, the Perth creative scene?
What do I want to see?
What are you enjoying? What do you like the most? And it kind of makes you see.
No, what I'm enjoying at the moment is the young people wanting it.
So you're seeing a lot of that in Perth?
I feel like young people want to embrace the culture. Whereas the older people, like 25, 26, they're not like that. But like, I feel like the young people being more connected to culture because they on social media all the time, on TikTok, on Instagram, and they see, they see what the British are doing. They see what the Americans are doing. So they have more of a wider vision than someone who is not on Instagram, if that makes sense.
So you are saying
I feel like people want, especially young people, they want more. They want more to happen because, bro, if you're a creative in Perth, you're most likely going to go to Melbourne or Sydney because you get more opportunities there. So, but we're trying to create an industry in Perth where you don't have to leave Perth. You can actually make Perth better, but in order to do that, we need investment.
And you're seeing the younger generation embrace.
I think the younger
they want to see
generation
inclusivity, and they want to. They're really putting
You
themselves.
see,
out
a
there.
lot of kids are trying to be DJs. A lot of kids are trying to start their own clothing brands. A lot of kids are trying to start their own businesses. You know, and I like that. You know? They are more open to culture. They have more Asian, Black, Indigenous. It's like more like a multicultural group of people. They, you know, I feel like the young people are really want to change. At least the ones that I've been recently talking to. I feel like they are trying to do more. Like a lot of them are like even trying to do their own parties, coming with their own parties, their own projects. So that's amazing to see.
Yeah, I think
that it's coming. It's coming. As you said, like it's changing. We are slow in change. Like we're changing slowly. But yeah, I think the people that are really gonna change are the young
people for sure. And hopefully anybody listening on this podcast, just keep creating. And if you need help or advice or whatever, you can message Mario.
Just message me. Just underscore
Mario. We want to see it as well. We love to see it. We love to see your young people like ourselves, like working on their passions. And you can like reach out to us. We'll help you out. We want to embrace the culture as well.
Sure, man. Yeah. If you need any help, message me. I'll answer everyone. And, you know, I'm here to help. To give any advice. If you need like an advice, I'm here for it. And let's make Perth better.
Yeah. So Mario, thank you so much for coming on. It was amazing to hear about your journey and your story, and to see your amazing work, and to hear.
Thank you.
You know,
I wish we had like more time, because I think it was getting better at the end. Like at the start, I was a bit stiff.
Oh yeah.
But that's it. I hope people can understand me. And I hope at least you can learn something from this podcast. But yeah, as I said, like I'm not used to. This is my first ever English podcast.
No, I think it was good.
I feel like so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much again. Make sure to check out Mario's Instagram. I think it's just _Mario Veloso. Yes, and any brands, fashion brands want to work with Mario, check out his stuff, man.
If you need advice, anything, just message me. And I'm a cool kid.
Yeah, he's cool, man. All right, peace out, guys.